Today we have a special guest with us who is a well-known global investor, world traveler, and the author of several books. In 1988, he traveled across China. He is the first foreigner to travel China on motorcycle. He told to the media, 21st century belongs to China. Why he has so much confidence in China? Let's welcome Mr. Jim Rogers. Oh, Mr. Rogers.
Ni hao, Ting. I'm delighted to be here. I'm very happy to be here. Oops.
You have been to Aigoshen 2 years ago, but during that time, we are just a startup company. We try to teach people how to buy and sell a stock in the right way. Now we have nice office, we have fabulous studio, so we can produce good programs for viewers. Do you have any suggestion or comment for Aigoshen?
Well, I will tell you, it's very impressive to see what's happened in the last 2 years. Very impressive to see you. It's amazing. My advice is to keep doing what you're doing, because the most important thing that investors need to know is education.
Yes.
They need to learn what to do and how to do it. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times I tell people that. They don't want to listen, but the ones who educate and learn, they're the ones who are successful. So keep it up.
Okay, thank you. Totally agree with you, because knowledge is the wealth.
Knowledge and education, yes.
Always keep on learning.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know, I'm so curious about, I read your book. Okay, I read a lot of your book. You travel across China. You are the first foreigner to travel across China on motorcycle in 1988.
Yes.
It's really cool. But you know, during that time, China wasn't open to the outside world.
I know.
So you are really brave. I'm so curious, how can you so sure 30 years ago, you told to the global media, 21st century belongs to China? How can you so sure? What did you foresee?
Ting, everywhere I went, people were working very hard. They were saving their money, they were educating their children, they were disciplining their children. I was shocked, I was amazed to see how energetic and ambitious the people in China. So I realized China's on the rise again. I went back to New York and I would tell people, and they were all worried about Japan. I said, forget Japan. You have to worry about China. China is the future.
Yeah. So you are so friendly, and you really spend the time, travel China 3 times.
4.
4 times. So you encourage people, just go traveling to see the world. You will know what really happened. But you know, the past 30 years, China has undergone huge change. For example, the China government announced the One Belt, One Road plan.
Yep.
So there are over 70 countries support it. Do you think that will be a turning point for China? Can maintain the GDP, go increase higher, and maintain a better economic situation?
Ting, China is going to be the most important country in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Along the way, there will be problems. Everybody has problems as they rise, but China is the place to be, and One Belt, One Road is one of the, if not the most important event in the 21st century. It's not often that geography changes. 500 years ago, the Portuguese and the Spanish started sailing around and changed geography. 200 years ago, the railroad changed geography. Now, it's One Belt, One Road. Some people are going to get very, very rich. Some are going to lose a lot. But if you're right and you do your homework, you'll be very successful.
Thank you. The One Belt, One Road, most of the foreigner, the media, in the beginning, they don't think that's a good idea, because they think if we have the New Silk Road, we'll beat US. But you know, truth is the truth, right?
Yes.
So
I have to invest on the way the world is, not the way somebody would like for the world to be. If you just invest on your emotions, you're not going to be successful. But if you look at the world and you see truth, reality, what's really happening, then you can be successful.
Yeah. And the second big change for China is the October 1st, 2016, last year. IMF support RMB into the SDR, okay, and has increased over the 10.9%. In your viewpoint, do you think RMB will appreciate or depreciate in the future?
Well, I own renminbi going forward. I own many more US dollars because when turmoil comes, people will go to the dollar first. But after the dollar goes up and everything will go down, when I sell my dollars, I will probably put it all into renminbi, or a lot of it into renminbi. The renminbi is not convertible yet, completely convertible, but when it's convertible, I anyway, and probably a lot of other people, will put more money into the renminbi. So then you're better off owning the renminbi than probably any other currency.
Yeah, and you sure the gold coin is in RMB, right?
Yes.
So
I have renminbi gold. Yes.
RMB gold.
I'll let you look at it. You
Okay.
cannot take it home. You cannot keep it.
No, you give to me. I will take it
No,
home.
不要。
这个是很有趣哈，就是他身上带着这个人民币计价的金币，然后上面是个我们的这个国宝，就是熊猫啊。婷姐说要偷偷的把它带回家，不给他了。Can I keep just right
No,
here?
不要。
Okay, thank you so much to share with that. So, you know, just a few weeks ago, China government announced they are planning right now to have the crude oil RMB. Do you think that will strengthen U.S. dollar reserve currency status?
No, more and more people want to move away from the dollar, and there's planning. This is part of it. China, Russia, Iran, many places would like to move away from the U.S. dollar, and this is just another step in moving away from the dollar. Eventually, the renminbi will probably replace the dollar as the world's currency. Not now, obviously, but it's starting, and this is one of the things that's happening. You should not sell your renminbi.
Okay, I will keep that.
Keep your renminbi.
Okay. Another big change for China is the Industrial Revolution, especially on the supply side reform, especially on the natural resources like the iron, coal, and so on, and really have a significant improvement, especially on the SOE. What's your opinion about the supply side reform?
Well, again, China's been the most successful country in the last 35 years. Look out the window and you will see what's happened in China. And that's continuing. There will be problems along the way, but this is part of the process that you're talking about. Not just the SOEs, many private companies. There are lots and lots and lots of entrepreneurs, smart people in China, and they're all developing the future.
Yeah.
Commodities, or iron, coal, everything, energy, everything is being developed in China. So be sure you speak Mandarin.
Yeah. 一定要会讲中文，这是他刚刚特别强调哈，所以所有的老外们准备学中文吧，因为未来的机会就在中国。Okay, anyway, let's change to the topic about the commodity you mentioned. You are very successful on the commodity. Do you think that's the right time to buy the gold now?
I am not buying gold now. I own gold, but I am waiting for another opportunity to buy gold. Gold will go down. If it goes down and goes down a lot, I hope, Ting, that I'm smart enough to buy a lot more gold. Because before it's over, whenever there's turmoil and people lose confidence in money and government, gold goes through the roof, gold and silver. Whether it should or not doesn't matter. So if it goes down, my plan is to buy a lot more, and then it's going to go through the roof.
Yeah, okay. But right now, the gold is still, you know, very flat on the 1,280 US dollar right now an ounce. You know, the Chinese people always like to buy the gold, especially end of the year, nearby the lunar year. They buy the gold as a gift for their children. So, but they're struggling about the price right now.
I am not buying gold now at these prices. I mean, I have a few for gifts, but no, I'm not buying any serious gold now. I am waiting for another chance for it to go down. And if it goes down, under 1,000 US dollars an ounce. That's my plan to buy a lot of gold.
I see.
I'll give gold to my children at the Lunar New Year, but I'm not buying a lot, not yet.
Okay, it's not right time, but when the retreat, the price is better, you can sell it.
That's my plan.
Okay. Let's pay attention on the stock market right now. Everybody, especially the Chinese people, so jealous of the US market. It's like a crazy bull market and it hit the highest index. Chinese stock market still very flat right now. So, but the only one good news is the Morgan Stanley. They just including the China stock market index into the MSCI. do you think next year, totally the index into the MSCI will really help Chinese market index go higher and higher?
Well, it will help. It's certainly not going to hurt by any stretch, but that's not the big news yet, because most people still, it's difficult to buy China for most people. If I want to buy Germany, I pick up the phone and buy Germany. But most people cannot just pick up the phone and buy China, because there are controls, convertible issues, and everything else. But when the currency is convertible and the market's completely open, whew, then it's going to go up a lot. This will help, but it's not the big news yet.
You know, most of the investors of Chinese people, they are the short-term traders. Sometimes I make fun of them. They are like a gambler. When they buy the stock today, they hope tomorrow at least rise up 10%, or they will be mad. I don't think that's the right way to invest in the stock market, because it still has risk on it. So would you mind to give the short day traders some suggestion?
Well, I am not a short-term trader at all. There are some people who are very, very good at it. I am not. I am the worst. I'm the worst at it. But your main point is, people shouldn't, unless they're good at short-term trading, they should not try it. They should listen to your company and learn how to invest and invest for the long term. The people who make a lot of money are the people who invest and own their shares, and then many years later are very, very rich. So unless you're a very good short-term trader, and most are not, I'm not, learn how to invest for the long term.
Yeah, you are a very good model and example. You have the long-term invest, then your wealth and more increase a lot, right?
Yes.
So most of the Chinese investors right now, they think the stock market seems to make them feel very disappointed. So which industry you thought will get a potential in the long term?
Well, there are many in China which have great long-term future. Beijing, for instance, and all governments are trying to clean up the pollution in China. So if you're in the pollution business in China, you're going to have a great future if you have any brains, because no matter what happens to the world, somebody's going to clean up China. One Belt, One Road, that has a great future. Healthcare in China. Every government in China wants to have more and better healthcare. So if you can find good people in the healthcare business, you will probably make a lot of money. There are some industries in China which have a great future, even if America disappears, even if Japan disappears. The people in the right industries are going to make a lot of money.
Okay, and you know, yesterday is November 11. We call a single day. The Alibaba and the JD.com, they really earn a lot of money, only one day. You know, the JD.com, Alibaba, and another local company, they have the new retail. Do you think that the China new retail business, the enterprises, will become a huge pressure to
the world is changing. In America, Europe, it doesn't matter where. More and more retail is on the computer. It's online. Whether we like it or not, that is changing. Many shops in America are closing down. Many malls in Europe are closing down because more and more people are going to the internet. Partly because of Alibaba, partly because of the companies you mentioned. But they're also, I mean, in America, we have something called Amazon, and they're doing the same thing. I don't think shopping malls have a great future. Internet retail has a very good future.
Yeah, that's true. So do you think that Alibaba will beat the Amazon? Sorry, I asked about that. But
well, they both have a good
because
future.
Because they have the cross-border right now.
Yeah.
They encourage the local Chinese people. You don't need to fly the US or Euro to buy things. You just use your online shopping. You can get everything product from the US.
They're right.
Yeah.
They can.
That's trading.
That's one reason that Alibaba has a very good future. But Alibaba's not the only one.
Yes.
There are other people doing the same thing. Alibaba's a great success story, a wonderful success story, but many other people are doing the same thing and are copying Alibaba and Amazon now. Don't open a shop, open it online.
Did you try?
No, not me. I'm not. I have
I will teach you how to buy online.
No, my children can teach me.
Oh, yeah,
my
that's
children
true,
know
that's
how to
true.
buy online.
That's true, that's true.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I don't like shopping.
We talk about China. So far, you observed China over 30 years. What will happen in the future soon? Any kind of industrial, or you have any predict about China will happen in the future?
Well, sure. When the West starts having problems, when America and Europe and Japan have an economic problem, and they will sometime in the future, China is going to be affected too, because you're the second largest economy in the world. You trade with a lot of people. When your customers have problems, you have problems. Now, Ting, in China now, there's a lot of debt. There was no debt 30 years ago in China, but now there is. So people who deal with the West and have debt are going to have problems next time America has problems. Beijing has said they will let people go bankrupt. I hope they do. It'll be good for China, it'll be good for the world. So you're going to see some surprises the next time the West has a problem. Many companies in China will have problems too. But don't worry. You know the Mandarin word, wei ji? You say it, I don't say it right. Wei ji.
Wei ji, yes, you said
okay.
it. Catastrophe and opportunity will at the same
it
time.
means that opportunity and disaster are the same thing. So when you see problems in China and the world next time, remember wei ji. Watch your TV show
yes.
and find opportunities.
Yeah. I'd like to discuss with you some issue about the U.S. Let me check. Let's check the content first. Let me show you. Oh, surprise! I prepared a surprise for you.
Okay.
Guess what will be that?
I'm afraid to guess.
Okay, let's check the video.
Tell them who you are. Tell them your name.
大家好，我是快乐罗杰斯，今年在南阳小学读6年级，我5月就12岁了。现在我要给大家背诵一首唐诗：一去2、3里，烟村4、5家，亭台6、7座，8、9、10枝花。谢谢大家。
You know, if I don't look at her face, I think less Chinese. Her Mandarin pronunciation is a lot better than me. It's not like the anchor on the CCTV.
I tried to teach her to speak CCTV Mandarin, yes.
Yeah.
I moved to Asia because of China.
Yeah.
I'm trying to prepare her for the 21st century.
Yeah. So I'm curious about their name. You have 2 beautiful daughters. One name is Happy. I can understand you hope she can grow up happily. But how about the second daughter? You have the B.
Xiaomi Feng.
Xiaomi Feng, why?
Yeah, Xiaomi Feng.
You want her to become so busy?
Wong.
China.
Xiaomi Feng. Well, my family name is Beeland, so her name is Beeland, and I call her Baby B for short.
So
Xiaomi Feng.
Yeah.
And then there's a song, Xiaomi Feng, Wong.
Yeah. Just like you. You know, when people travel a lot, like you and the leader Xi Dada, we always traveling to visit another country, we will say, he's like the bee, so busy everywhere. Of course, I hope your daughter not so busy like you.
I hope she is. She is a very, very energetic, busy. She's a wonderful little girl. She's great.
I hope next time you can have two daughters here, then we can have the interview together.
I would like that.
Okay.
In Chinese.
Yeah, in Chinese. So let's start prepare to discuss your opinion. Check this. So you share with our Chinese people, the viewers, you say you still hold the RMB in long-term way and a good Chinese company. Especially say, during any crisis, the RMB will hold its value compared with other currencies.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you still hold the same value?
Yes.
Same opinion?
China has huge foreign currency reserves. Most countries are big debtors. Britain, France, Italy, America, all of these, Japan, all of these countries have huge debts. Yes, you have debts in China, but nothing like the rest of the world. So in a crisis, I had rather own the renminbi than the euro. I had rather own the renminbi than the pound sterling. No, the renminbi. You should own renminbi.
Yeah, you mentioned about the pounds. The Brexit. Brexit just happened last year.
Yeah.
So do you think the UK will...
I went to university in the UK, I got married in the UK, my first Guinness record was in the UK, so I have very fond memories of the UK. But unfortunately, the UK has many problems now, especially debt. It's got huge debt. They don't have much to sell to the outside world anymore, so no, I'm not optimistic about the UK. I don't like it, but I have to deal with facts.
Do you think that Singapore or Hong Kong will, instead of London, become the financial center city?
I suspect it will be Shanghai eventually.
Really?
That will be the finance. Before the Second World War, Shanghai was the largest financial center between New York and London. It will be again. Cannot now, because the currency's blocked. There are many controls. Cannot now, but eventually, as Beijing opens up more and more, you should move to Shanghai.
I'm already here.
I know.
You know why I can tell that Shanghai will become the center of finance? You know, everything here, the expenses, just like New York, so expensive, whatever. Especially go to the restaurant or buy anything, that's the international price. So I can feel that really progress very fast.
Well, maybe you should move to Hami.
Hami?
Hamigua.
Xinjiang?
Yeah.
Xinjiang, Hami. Okay, I understand you. The big city is like that, but a lot of the second city or first city still, will grow up very soon.
Yes.
Okay, let's check another content. Next. Oh, your favorite.
Yes.
President Trump. Okay, Trump said, show on the Twitter, he said because of he is the president, the stock market is up more 25%. Unemployment is at 70 years lower. Do you agree with him? Because he tried to introduce people the tax cuts.
Well,
he wants to make American great again. But look, he threatened to the investor, if we allow the tax cut pass on the House or the Congress, collapse. Do you agree with him?
No, I don't agree with that. If tax cuts happen, if they're good tax cuts, of course it will help the economy. Any country which cuts taxes has a better economy. It's nothing to do with Mr. Trump. It has to do with the world. But if you look at the world, I mean, the Japanese stock market has gone up more in that period of time. So maybe Mr. Trump should be president of Japan. Because, I mean, some markets have done extremely, our market has done very well. But it's mainly because central banks everywhere have printed so much money, and they're still printing money. Part of it is because of potential tax cuts, yes, but there are more important reasons.
Okay, let's talk about the Fed. Fed tried to string the balance right now because, as you say, they print too much cash, too much money. They try to shrink the balance right now. Do you think that's the right way?
No, it's absolutely a terrible mistake. We're all going to pay a price someday, Ting. Interest rates are the lowest they've ever been in history, in the history of the world. In some countries, they're negative interest rates. This is all because of misguided policies in the American Central Bank. It is a terrible mistake. It's good now. Yeah, you see, it's good now.
Yeah.
But when this comes to an end, oh my God, we're going to have horrible, horrible problems, and we're all going to pay a serious price, and a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. I hope I don't, but I might too. A lot of people will have problems. You should watch this network.
Okay.
So you don't have problems.
Yeah. Did you like a new chairman of the FedEx?
He's the same old thing. I mean, he was appointed by
just
Mr.
follow
Obama. I mean, the reason he was appointed in the first place is because he would do what they say.
Yeah.
The reason he was reappointed is because he will do what they say.
So you won't change much, right?
Won't change anything.
Yeah.
No, change. Well, it's a different person, a different name.
Yeah, but
Maybe
the same policy.
It's the same.
Okay.
It's the same old, same old.
So that's why you always remind people that turmoil will come soon. Let's check what will it be. Look at the history. You mentioned many times, right? Each 7 years, turmoil will come. Check the 1987, the Wall Street U.S. stock market crash.
Yes.
1997, Asia financial crisis. 2007, subprime mortgage storm. How about right now? It's only 1.5 months left.
Well, it doesn't have to happen every 10 years, but probably in the next year or so, yes. You know, right now, markets are making all-time highs, bonds, stocks, many things, property in Shanghai, many things. But that when it ends, and Ting, it's going to end. The central bank in America says we will never have problems again. Ha!
They always tell the lies.
We will have, they always tell lies. We will have problems again. And the next time we have a problem, it's going to be the worst in my lifetime, certainly your lifetime. But you know, every few years, debt was very, very, very high.
Yeah.
So we had this problem. Now the debt, Ting, the debt is much, much, much higher now.
Through the roof.
So the next time we have a problem, it's going to be the worst you've ever seen.
So you think the crisis turmoil will happen in U.S.?
Happen in the U.S., but when it happens in the U.S., it happens
Connect
everywhere.
or
yes,
international.
But I want to tell you good news. For you, it's good news because you have job security. Somebody has to report about all the turmoil and crisis. So you will have a job.
Okay,
I may not have a job. Nobody else may have a job, but you will have a job.
You don't only have job, you already have your career.
Yes, yeah, well, okay, but you don't have to worry because we need someone to report
Maybe
what's happening.
the young generation maybe need to worry about the turmoil, right?
Everybody needs to, especially the young generation, but we all do.
You talk about the debt. That's why people don't understand. The U.S. already have national debt so high, 20 trillions. Why you want to have tax cuts? That's ridiculous.
Well, if you had spending cuts and tax cuts, yeah, it'd be great. But unfortunately, the politicians will not cut spending. That's what they should do. They should cut spending because, oh my, we waste so much money. We have wars everywhere. We give people money all the time. No, but that's the problem. It's too much spending in America. We could cut taxes a lot if we cut spending. They won't cut spending.
Do you think that Apple, Amazon, or Google, they really have the money transfer back to U.S.?
Well, Mr. Trump says, and that's one reason the market's going up, he says he's going to give them incentives to bring the money home. Now, apparently there are trillions of dollars out there, and if he can make them or help them bring it home,
but you need to pay the 12% tax first.
Okay, but that's much, much lower than they would have to pay otherwise. And so for them, it's an incentive to bring the money home, then they can use the money at home for themselves, for their companies, for their stockholders. So it could be very, very good. And it can make the dollar go higher. I own a lot of U.S. dollars. That's another reason I own the U.S. dollars, is because I expect that some of that money to come home.
You know that Apple, their price is the highest right now. Do you like the iPhone 10?
Well, I own...
Do you use iPhone?
What is that? Yeah, that's
or Huawei. It's iPhone?
Yeah.
Did you ever try to use the Huawei, the brand?
My children tell me what to buy. My children and my secretary, so don't ask me.
Oh, okay. They prepare the Apple for you.
I do what my children tell me.
Okay. So next time, so your daughter, I say, hey, try the Chinese brand. The
you
Huawei
tell
is
you
pretty
meet
good.
my daughter and you tell her. Okay.
I'll fly to Singapore visit you.
Okay.
Let's see another topic you always talk to people. Let's use it, the Weiji.
Yeah, Weiji.
Okay. Catastrophe and opportunity will happen on the same time. Do you think opportunity will keep on in China?
Absolutely. Ting, China's going to be the next great country in the world. There is no question. There will be problems along the way, but when you see problems in China, you remember Weiji, and you call me and tell me. I want the opportunity whenever there's a catastrophe.
But you know, I'm so curious why a lot of the Wall Street Journal or the other CNBC, they really love to say something bad about China. Every time they say the crisis in China will become the headline news, the global headline news. Why? They like to emphasize the 危机 about China.
Partly they don't understand China.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
many people in China don't
That's
understand
true.
China,
That's true.
but certainly in the West. And of course, the West doesn't like that China is rising again. But they should work with China, not against China, because everybody could be much better off if China and the West works together. But people are jealous, or they don't understand, or they're foreigners. You know, people always like to attack foreigners, whoever they are. So I know what's happening. I know there are many people who say that China is going to collapse.
Yeah.
But they've been saying it for 15, 20 years. And maybe there will be problems in China. There always are when somebody rises. Ting, America had 15 depressions as we rose. We had civil war, no human rights, massacres in it. We were a mess. And yet America became very successful. China will too.
Okay.
Speak Mandarin.
Okay. 一定要学中文，不断的强调啊。Okay, let me think about why they like to say Chinese bad part is the bubble in the real estate. Because right now in Shanghai, the big city, the house is really in the high roof. Yeah. Do you think what bubble?
Well, everybody I know in China says it's a bubble. The government, the TV, the people, everybody says it's a bubble. I could not afford to buy in Shanghai or Guangzhou or someplace now. So it may be, it's certainly very, very expensive if prices go down. And you know, the governments are trying to get prices to go down. If prices go down, then you buy. Remember Wei Ji?
Yeah. Just like New York, right? If you live in New York, so you know, if every time retreat about the house price, it's a good time to buy it.
Yes.
Okay.
But prices are not down in China or New York now.
Okay. Most of my viewers, Chinese fans, they pay attention on the stock market. Okay. Right now, China's stock market index is still very flat. So do you think they should learn from you, buying and in long term, no worry about that? And a few years ago, I'm sure the index will go higher and higher. Maybe the highest hit the highest index like a U.S. market.
Well, you know, I don't know, Ting. I can tell you I bought more shares in China last week. I don't know if I did it right or not. I'm a very bad market timer.
Everybody is curious about which company. Tell me.
I bought shares. I bought the index. Mainly I bought the index.
Okay, ETF.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mainly I bought ETFs last week because I'm lazy.
Me too. That's a very good idea. When you are too busy, just buy the blue chips company, the best one, and keep it.
I bought the ETF last week in China and Japan, a couple of places, but yes.
What's your opinion about Japan?
Well, the Japanese stock market is down a lot from its all-time high. The American stock market is making all-time highs. I'd rather buy Japan than America, especially since the Japanese government is doing everything they can to make the stock market go up. I'd rather buy the ones that are down instead of the ones that are up.
Yeah.
I know on your TV and your school, you teach people to buy low and sell high.
Yeah.
Well, buy low.
Yeah, always the right way.
Go to school. Go to the school here, and you will learn.
You made me think about, you know, Trump just visited China 2 days ago. So last year, when he became the U.S. president, he said, I'm going to have the tax from the Chinese company and try to have the trade war with China. But this time, he called Xi Jinping, we are buddy, we are good friends. Why he changed his attitudes?
Well, I'm not sure Mr. Trump really knows what his attitude is, because he's always changing what he says. He said, we will have tariffs and trade war. He promised many times.
Yeah, many times.
He said on the first day, I will have trade war. Well, he hasn't done it, but even he went to Beijing and he said, we're friends. But he also said, again, we have to make it better. China has to make it better for the U.S. It's not China's fault that the U.S. has problems. He wants China to solve our problem, but that should not happen. But Mr. Trump, who knows what he will do? I will tell you what he's going to do. When things start going wrong in America, He's going to blame the foreigners. He's going to blame China. He's going to blame Japan. They always blame foreigners. Whatever politicians, Brazil, Germany, America, they blame foreigners. And he will blame the foreigners. And then we will see problems between China, America, Japan, America, and other things. Because the easy way for him and all politicians is to blame the foreigners.
In Obama time, he say he want to change U.S. In Trump, he say, I want to make America great again. Do you think he can do that?
He wants the rest of the world to help him make America revive. But it's not Japan's fault or China's fault or Germany's fault that America has bad education, that America has a lot of debt. America's the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, Ting. China didn't make America go and borrow a lot of money. Brazil didn't make America borrow a lot of money. We borrowed the money, so we got to solve it ourselves first. But blaming it on others is not the way to solve the problem. Unfortunately, that's what Mr. Trump thinks, and that's what other politicians think too.
Okay. Trump tried to emphasize the one have the American spirit, the Caucasian is the priority. Doesn't like with our leader Xi Jinping, right? He emphasized the globalize. The China tried to open the QFII, our QFII have more hot money can invest in China. We try to step by step to open the market. Totally different from Trump. What's your opinion about the globalize?
Well, open markets and open societies have always been good for any country throughout history. You look at the countries which open up, they become more successful and more prosperous. Throughout history, the countries which close off suffer. Had you rather be in North Korea or South Korea for the economy, for instance? South Korea opened up, became prosperous and rich. North Korea closed off, you know the rest of the story. So South Vietnam or North Vietnam? You know, South Vietnam became much more prosperous. East Germany or West Germany? East Germany was closed, West Germany opened. So countries that open prosper. Countries that close suffer. China's opening up. Look out the window. Ting, go look out the window and see what's happened in Shanghai. I first came to Shanghai in 1984. Oh, in the last 33 years, enormous difference. And that will continue as China opens up. So I hope, now if I were China, I would open up faster. I'm not China. China doesn't have to listen to me. But the more you open, the better. Unfortunately, America seems to be closing, which cannot be good for America. It never has been for any country in history.
Okay. The true in Asia market, everybody worry not really the bubble about China. They worry about Korea, North Korea. You know, Trump always want to say the really wage is in North Korea. And the leader of North Korea really like to have a conflict with Trump. What's your opinion about Korea?
Well, again, Mr. Trump last year said he was going to sit down with the kid in North Korea. He was going to buy him a hamburger.
The kids?
They were going to, I call him the kid. Mr. Trump said he and the kid are going to meet and solve the problem. I said before, Mr. Trump is always changing his mind. Now, of course, he says the kid is a horrible, dangerous person. I happen to think that's not correct, but it doesn't matter. If Mr. Trump would try to solve the problem, it would be fabulous for the world, for him, for Korea, for the kid, China. It'd be good for all of us. But at the moment, Mr. Trump seems to think that he should hit the kid and not work with the kid.
And Trump said only China can resolve the problem between the China and the kids will get along very well. So he thinks China will be the
No, he's wrong. He's wrong. It's America's the one that can solve that problem. America will not solve the problem because America has 30,000 troops stationed in South Korea, and they want to keep those troops there. So I mean, the kid has said, and other people have said, there are ways to solve the problem, but America will say you have to do it our way or nothing. No, America could solve the problem better than anybody.
How about Russia? Before, U.S. really had good relationship with Russia. But I don't know what happened to Trump. He seems to keep away from Russia. So far, China have good relationship with Russia. So,
Well, Mr. Trump said many times he's going to be good friends with Russia. He's going to make things okay again. Unfortunately, that's another one where he's changed his view, and it's bad for America because now Russia and China and Iran are closer and closer. If you go to Moscow airport, you see Chinese everywhere. You go to Moscow, you see Chinese banks. That was not true 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But now China and Russia and Iran and other countries are becoming closer and closer and closer. It's helping Russia, it's helping China, it's hurting America. So Mr. Trump and Washington's policies are not good for America, not good for what's happening now. It's great for Russia. I have investments in Russia because of this. Russian agriculture is booming. There are many things in Russia that this is helping. It's not helping America.
Okay. You mentioned about Russia is blooming. A lot of Chinese businessmen, they go there, try to get the potential, the chance, catch the chance to earn the money in Russia. Do you think if most of our viewers have the chance investing in Russia, that's a good idea too?
Well, I've got investments in Russia. I've got stocks, ETFs, bonds, the currency. I'm investing in Russia, and I want to invest more in Russia. Russia's still very depressed compared to America, for instance, and there are fabulous opportunities. You should do a show from Russia.
Yeah, I was starting to search about Russia. I've never been there. I'm curious about Russia, never.
You should go to Russia.
You should travel
I'll take you to Russia, okay, and show you around, yes.
Okay. You live in Singapore.
Yes.
The situation in Singapore seems not very well. Everything, the stock market or the finance center, before everybody really loved Singapore, seems they all moved to Shanghai. So do you think, what will happen for Singapore in the future?
I live in Singapore. We're very happy in Singapore. My family, we all like Singapore very much. Singapore is closing off more than it did before. And you're right, more people are moving to Shanghai than before. And that's because Singapore's closing off now to some extent. It's not big, but it's happening. And as we discussed, when you open up, you prosper. When you close, you start to suffer. Don't worry, Singapore's not going to disappear.
I know.
Not in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
But maybe we'll instead buy Shanghai
they
or
are
Hong
closing
Kong.
off some, which I don't think is good for Singapore, but you know, countries make mistakes all the time, including America.
The China, our air is more fresh now. Did you consider to really move into China, to Shanghai?
Ting, I like Shanghai very, very much, and many cities in China, but the air is not clean.
Not clean yet?
Not clean yet. Beijing, all governments in China say they're going to clean up, and they are. They're spending a lot of money.
You know, when Trump comes, that's really Trump blue.
Well, okay. Many cities and provinces in China are cleaning up. Yes, they're getting much, much better, but it's still not clean.
So when one day the China air is more fresh, you consider to just move here.
Then we will certainly think
next
about
time I don't interview you. I have interest about your two daughters.
Okay, you will. My daughters are smarter than I am. They speak good Chinese. They know more than I do. You should interview my daughters, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so the 1 hour interview, we really learned a lot from you. So please look at the camera and share the final advice for the future investor in China.
China is the next great country in the world, but you must do your homework. You must educate yourself, because you should not invest unless you know what you're doing. But once you've done your homework, you should invest in China.
So I have a short Mandarin translation.
Okay,
所以从这1个小时的采访当中，你很明确的听到 Mr. Rogers 一直在告诉大家一件事情：学习，学习，学习，知识才是真正能够为你开启财富之门。去学习新思维、新逻辑，因为这样子你才能够真正的搞懂经济，创造财富。Thank you so much for today's share your view and wisdom.
Thank
you. Yeah. So 希望大家有收获，我们下次再会了，拜拜。
再见。